Alright guys, so I'm going to talk about the trailer for Jurassic World Chaos Theory, kind of talk about, like, what I'd like to see from the show, as well as talk about, like, what, kind of, like, where it could go and my thoughts on it. Now, this is the sequel to Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, and I think I speak for a lot of people, is that the one good thing to come out of Jurassic World is the animated show. It's very much doing what, it's basically doing what the Clone Wars cartoon did for the prequel movies. Basically, you know, make us appreciate them more. However, it's not doing a lot to make me appreciate the Jurassic World franchise. I will say, though, it is kind of cool to see how it connected there, but on a whole, it doesn't have that. Personally, it doesn't have that same effect for me. It really does not have that kind of same effect that film had for me. Like, it didn't have that same connection. Like Clone Wars, I always liked the prequels. Well, Attack of the Clones aside, I always enjoyed the prequel films, and going back and watching Clone Wars really does make you go, oh yeah, this really just helps accentuate it. Whereas with Camp Cretaceous, it's more like, oh, that's cool how it connects. But this has been a shining example, and Chaos Effect is supposed to be a more darker show. It's going to be have a more darker themes to it. I really like that idea. I think there's going to be a lot of cool. Actually, I'll tell you what the main thing I'm excited for with this. I'm actually the most excited for is the fact that we're doing something that should have been done with Dominion, which is focus on the goddamn dinosaurs roaming around in the world. Like these giant animals moving around in broad fucking daylight, like, among people. We're actually going to be talking about that. At least I hope, because this trailer does talk about, like, the whole thing is, like, at the end of Camp Cretaceous, they were interviewed, and Darius basically says, hey, we did it together. And I'm like, so the band broke up, and now we got to get everyone back together. Ben and Darius basically have to, work together to get everyone hanging out again. Oh boy, we have to do, like, a Losers Club thing. Fiddly-dee! So that's what I found, I'm not like, why can't we just have, instead of, like, we have to do, like, this whole, well, why did they stop hanging out together? Well, let's go back and talk about it. I hate that. Why can't we just have them, like, kind of like with the Owl House, where it's like, oh, they've been friends forever, and, like, there's no bad blood between anyone, and we're all just, singing Kumbaya and shit. Oh, shit, a dinosaur. But, yeah. Now, what we do see is that Ben and Darius are being hunted by someone, some unknown organization who's working on black sites. I think in one image we see something called Black Jurassic, which sounds kind of cool. And then we also have the Atrociraptors. So I guess that one villain from Malta, excuse me, almost said Moldova, from Malta is going to play a role in here. That, that one villain who felt like a villain in a Bond movie and didn't have any plot relevance other than showing off the Atrociraptors in that one scene for Dominion. Yeah, that character, that villain. Maybe they'll give her more. I can't even remember. Was her name Sasha? Something with an S. I don't fucking care. Maybe they'll make her more of a credible threat in this film. Like, maybe they'll, like, give her a reason why that is, but it's cool to see the Atrociraptors. I'm also hoping we get more with Manticore. I hope we get more with, Biosyn. Maybe have it like a war between, a corporate war between Biosyn and Manticore leading to Dominion. That'd be kind of neat. And, of course, we gotta talk about the big thing, which is the dinos. This show is built and predicated on the dinosaurs. So, what can we do with these dinosaurs? Obviously, I really want them to talk about the environmental impact these creatures have on the planet. Like I said in my review and kind of follow-up to Dominion, one of the major issues I had is that no one really talked about the idea of these massive animals that need food, whether they be herbivore or carnivore. They need, like, this massive amount of food to consume And already our planet is struggling at this point in time. Like, our planet is already struggling as is to feed, you know, basic animals. So what's going to happen when you bring in a animal whose planet is much smaller than it was when it was alive, and it needs to feed? I really hope they talk about, like, that these animals are basically invasive species now. Like, they've now become invasive species and need to be dealt with as such. I love dinosaurs, but even I acknowledge that, environmentally speaking, yeah, those things should not be around anymore. Like, the world has gotten too small, resources have become too competitive, and the animals literally need more food than the present day animals. So they would either starve to death or outcompete the animals that we struggle to keep alive through conservation. And so I really want him to talk about, like, that kind of conservationist kind of perspective of, guys, look, it's cool that they're back. It's cool to see these dinosaurs, but, like, at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get rid of them. Like, they don't belong here. I kind of hope we also, like, I talked about in one video, I talked about, like, I think it was like a Kong fanfiction idea where I brought in this character who was Robert Muldoon's, like, nephew, and they would have to throw in, like, to do something like this, where he talks, like, to have this character as, like, the mouthpiece of, yeah, these are dinosaurs, but they're also invasive species, and I'm trying to keep the animals that were created naturally alive, not some not for some freak show. So maybe run into a character, not saying, like, a Muldoon, like, someone related to Muldoon, but, like, what I'm saying is, like, have the team run into another character who is killing dinosaurs off, and Darius is like, no, you can't kill them, they're animal, they don't know what they're doing, and he's like, yeah, but I'm trying to keep the fucking bears alive, dude. Like, this thing's been killing, like, have it, like, some episode where it's, like, they're hunting, like, a Carnotaurus or an Allosaur, and this hunter is like a park ranger, and he has been tasked with killing this thing, and him and Darius get into this debate of, yeah, it didn't ask to be, I know the dinosaurs didn't ask to be here, but they're here, and I'm trying to keep the animal that, is already an endangered species alive. Nobody thinks about, like, the endangered species we already have, and would have to compete and inevitably lose in these kind of situations if you brought these animals back. So I really hope they kind of touch on that at some point in this show with Chaos Effect. Now let's talk about, let's talk dinos. Like, what dinosaurs would I love to see in this series? Like, what dinosaurs would I absolutely love to see in this show? Well, I would personally love to see some lesser-known dinosaurs. I mean, obviously, we're going to have the T-Rex, the Atrociraptors, and I'm sure Blue's going to show up. And speaking of Velociraptors, it wouldn't be so bad to have the JP3 and Lost World Raptors here. We do get, in the Dino Finder website, they did show the JP3 Raptors were on land. Like, they have gotten off of Sorna and are now here on the mainland. So that would be kind of cool to see the JP Raptors. Maybe even have it that Blue has socialized with them a bit. I would also like to see some other carnivores that aren't, like, Allosaurus, Carnotaurus, T-Rex. Have some new faces. Like, I think Saurophaganax would be really cool. Lythronax, the Gore King, as it's known as. I would even love to see, like, some other Tyrannids. Like, maybe have Tarbosaurus come back. That would be one from Camp Cretaceous Choose Your Own Adventure. Bring the Tarbo back. Maybe an Albertosaurus, Despleta. I don't mind if you bring in, like, I know they're, like, all part of the same Tyrannosaur tree, but it'd be kind of cool to see, like, other variations of the Tyrannosaur family. I would even love to see some Triassic animals, like maybe Gorgonopsid or maybe some Permian. That'd be kind of cool. As for non-dinosaurs, I would love to see. I would like to see, like, Azagopteryx. I know we got Quetzalcoatl in Dominion, but Azagopteryx would be really cool. Just on the thought of, like, how much of a horror story it would be. Like, these things were the size of giraffes and probably swallowed their prey whole, so could you just imagine, like... And the thing is, like, what we understand about Hazagopteryx's biology is that it didn't like swoop down and catch prey. It landed, got on all fours, and proceeded to gallop after land animals. This big fuck-off winged reptile comes down and chases you down. How scary is that? Like, this big fuck-off lizard, flying lizard. Anyway. As for others, I would like to see maybe... I know it's kind of later in timeline, like the Pleistocene, but we already did Smilodon, so and this wouldn't be too far off. How about Megalania? Big Komodo dragon. There you go. Anyway, and also, I've been saying it before. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Deinosuchus. I want Deinosuchus in this show in some capacity. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That's just my kind of general thoughts on Jurassic World Chaos Theory. You guys let me know in the comments below. What did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.